It's been 1 week since the IPL started, and we are on match number 9 today. It was the Rajasthan Royals who had won their first game, taking on Delhi Capitals who had lost their first game. There seems to be a pattern emerging out of this IPL. All 9 games so far have been won by the home team. The the teams that are traveling, haven't managed to win a single game, and that trend continued today, with the Royals beating Delhi Capitals by a small margin of 12 runs. We've got lots to discuss about this game, but to kick us off, as always, just let's have a quick look at the scorecard. Have it on your screens. Rajasthan Royals batting first, 185 for 5. Riyan Parag top scoring 84 of just 45 deliveries, and there's so much to talk about that innings. It's a heartwarming innings. It's a feel good factor innings, and yeah, lots to discuss there. But in reply, Delhi Capitals managing only 173. Normally, when you see a team having 5 wickets in hand and still falling short of the target by 12 runs, that means there's something not right there. But yeah, we'll talk about all of that. First things first, though, the news of the day, the breaking news of the day, the story of the day, Sarvesh, has to be Riyan Parag.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been talking about Riyan Parag for some time. The recent domestic season was his best. His numbers, they are pretty good. In fact, he was the highest run scorer in Syed Mushtaq Ali, in Devda Trophy as well. I mean, Syed Mushtaq Ali's numbers. I think I got something for that. He was the highest scorer. He scored in excess of 500 runs. At that average, at that strike rate, that makes it even more special. He was scoring a six every seventh ball, scoring a four every ninth ball, and I mean average of 85. And if your strike rate is around more than 180, then you have to be a special player to do that. And there were plenty of
Like, wait,
yeah,
let's just dwell on that for one moment.
yeah,
Average of 85, you said,
yeah.
and a strike rate of 180. Is there any batter who's done that in a tournament, anywhere in the world in T20 cricket? I'm
Um,
not sure. There'll be
yeah.
some rare numbers, those, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, look at number two, Abhishek Sharma. I mean, we have been talking about him as well. His average is not that high because he bats in the top order, so he doesn't get those many not outs. Riyan Parag bats at 4-5, so he gets those not outs, so that average gets pumped up a little. But again, I mean, these two guys have been batting in some different mood, and this has been
Yeah.
happening for the entire year. Now, coming back to Riyan Parag, we have been saying his average number of balls taken to hit 1 6, one boundary, everything looks great. And look at these scores. I mean, those runs were not scored in one particular game. Those scores were scored in a very consistent manner. Look at that 45 at a strike rate of 237, 61 at strike rate of around 180, 76, 53, 76, 72, 57, 50. All those strike rates. The slowest of all this was 161. Can you imagine? He's scoring so regularly and he's scoring so quickly that the slowest of these innings has come at a strike rate of 161. So that's the kind of season he had, and not just in Syed Mushtaq Ali. He was performing well in Devda Trophy as well. He was again the highest run getter in Devda Trophy. He scored in excess of 350 runs. His strike rate was strike rate was close to 130, 138. I think 138 or 140. It was around that. And in a 50-over game, I think that's a huge number. If you're averaging around somewhere close to 90 in a 50-over game, and your strike rate is around 138, you're scoring two centuries. You're getting all those runs, crucial runs for your team, batting at number 5, number 6. Then it tells you that you have matured. You have gone to that another level, and that level was pretty much on display today. What we saw was phenomenal.
Well, at the start, I said it's a heartwarming story and it's a feel-good story also. The emotional side of things, he played for India under 19, and the first I saw of Riyan Parag was in New Zealand because he was part of that under 19 team that won the World Cup in New Zealand. On the day of the finals, I remember. there was a guy called Manjot Kalra
Yeah.
who actually scored 100 in that under 19 final and won India that game. But Riyan Parag was the guy at the end who got, I think, about 10 or 15 runs and finished the game off towards the end. So that's the first I remember of him. Then got picked by the Rajasthan Royals, and they invested in him for a long, long time. You know, in life, a lot of times you need somebody to believe in you. And if you have one person in this world who absolutely believes in you uh, till the end of the world, as we say, it really helps. But Rajasthan Royals have stuck with him, so we've got to give them credit that there's not many franchises out there who would have invested so much time, so many resources in a guy like him. They must have seen this coming a long, long way.
Yes, it is difficult actually to invest such amount of time in somebody, because we have mega auctions every 3 or 4 years, and if you're investing in somebody, then you have to. I mean, you have to be ready mentally to let that player go in 2 3 years, and it is very easy to let these guys go because you are having that mega auction every third or fourth year. So it's very easy to let these guys go. But what's difficult is to keep hold of these guys and look to develop these guys, and prepare them for next 5 to 10 years. This is very rare. And why so many people praise Mumbai Indians, because they have got like Bumrah and Hardik Pandya. All those players have been coming in. Now we are seeing what Rajasthan Royals have been doing with Riyan Parag and SRH doing with Abhishek. So it's very difficult to keep that kind of a faith and to keep investing in somebody for that long. So like you rightly said, I mean they have invested in him, and he is now paying them back.
The other side of it is also it's not like Rajasthan Royals are a top side. They won this title once,
Yeah.
so there must be pressures on them to kind of get rid of players who are not doing well and get players who are going to start delivering from day one. So that makes it even more fascinating that even though the results are not there, they were still sticking with him. And as you said, released him and then bought him back in the auction because they actually like the guy and think that, there is a lot of potential in him. Um, that's as far as the emotional side of things is concerned. One thing I noticed in his innings today also, and just when he was talking in the post-match interviews and stuff like that, he looks really fit. So, the Riyan Parag of 2 or 3 years back that I remember had a bit of weight on him, just looked a bit lethargic, but now when you look at him, it's all lean, it's all muscle, and he just looks in the zone. And what happened? T20 is a small game, but it's a fast game. So it tests your fitness in different levels. Test cricket is a slower game, but it's a longer game. So, it tests your fitness in some other ways. But Riyan Parag seems to have really worked off the field on
Yeah.
his fitness. And once the body is in great shape, it affects the mind as well, doesn't it? Because then you start making good
Yeah.
decisions, your muscle memory improves, and it's a combination of things, isn't it?
Yeah, those who are close to Riyan Parag can tell you how much he has improved. Surya Kumar Yadav, today he tweeted about him. He said that Riyan Parag was there at NCA for some time, and Surya Kumar Yadav is already there spending time because he's also nursing his injury. He's trying to make his way back. So he met Riyan Parag there, and he said that I have seen this guy. That he was referring to Riyan, and he was saying that he looks changed, and this is like a Riyan Parag 2.0. So even those who are, I mean, we know the kind of fitness level Surya Kumar Yadav, even he himself he has been maintaining those levels for some time now. He is saying that Riyan Parag has also done something like that, and he was praising him. He's saying that he's 2.0 basically. That means he has changed something. He has decided to take something seriously. I'm not saying that he was not doing that earlier, but now right now he looks more, like you said, fitter. He looks in my opinion, his attitude has also changed, and a lot of those smaller things that he's now paying closer attention to. So I think all those things have started to finally click, and all that faith that people showed in him, and is finally coming. He's finally paying it back.
One last point on today's innings. He plays for Assam, which is
Yeah.
not again a big team in Ranji cricket or in the domestic scene. So probably when he does come into bat at number 4 for them, a lot many times he faces situations like today.
Yeah.
Today they were 36 for 3, at one stage after 7 overs. So kind of very similar to where he comes in at Assam and rescues them time and again. So that experience, I believe, has really helped him in today's innings. At one stage, he was 26 of 26
Yeah.
balls today,
Yeah. Yeah.
which shows that he's initially taken his time, he's soaked in that pressure. Now the real kicker is when you take that much time, you have to kind of make up for it and deliver and build that strike rate, make sure you finish on a high. If you don't, you can look like an absolute you'll end up ruining the game for your side.
There's
But
no way going back after playing those many deliveries. 26 from
exactly.
26, you just have to keep keep that pedal on, and you just have to keep going.
Yeah.
You cannot play more dot balls. So that's the time when the pressure mounts on you, and when the team is down, 3 wickets down, and Josh Butler, Sanju Samson, and Jaiswal, these three guys were back in the pavilion, and that's when he started taking off. Of course, he had great support from Ashwin. I think we'll talk about him a bit. I think after that, Josh Butler, after the initial power play, I think because Khalil bowled a really good spell. Mukesh Kumar again, he bowled a good spell. Mukesh Kumar is now having a good matchup against Yashasvi Jaiswal. Sanju Samson was got a beauty from Khalil Ahmed, and I mean all these guys, we know the kind of players these guys are, but they got out in that power play, and that I think that power play belonged to Delhi Capitals. They both those 6 overs were phenomenal. Nobody expected them to do something like that. Those were phenomenal. And then after that, the pressure was mounting. And I looked at numbers of Josh Butler against Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel. Those numbers are pretty ordinary. Around strike rate of around 120, 125 against Akshar. Strike rate of around 140 against Kuldeep, but he has lost. He has got dismissed by Kuldeep by a couple of times. That's the kind of record Josh Butler had, and I think he was dismissed eventually because that pressure was already there. And after that, they sent
Yeah.
Ravichandran Ashwin in, and Ashwin then, I think they were after 9 overs. Let me check. I think they were going somewhere around 50, 55. I think their score was around that. And I think then Ravi Ashwin, they scored only 5 boundaries in those 9 overs. And then R. Ashwin took them to, I think, somewhere around 11 overs and around 76. So he scored around 3 sixes in those overs. So that's the kickoff that RR got. And that's when Riyan Parag got to know that okay, now somebody has done that difficult job in the middle overs. Now my job is to stay there till the end, and then carry this innings and make this convert this into a good one. And he did exactly that.
Yeah, you cannot deny the role that Ashwin played in that. And what a masterstroke to kind of promote him once again up the order, because they know that Dhruv Jurel and Shimron Hetmeyer are their designated finishers. And that stage at 7 overs, it would have been too early for them to come in. So kind of they pushed Ashwin up. Ashwin, being the utility cricketer that he is, molds himself into any role that you give him. And he's just kind of come and taken all the pressure of Riyan Parag. He took it upon himself to come up with the big shots, came up with those 3 sixes, and kind of made life easier. And in a way, I feel just having Ravi Ashwin there also kind of got Riyan Parag's innings going as well, because he was
Exactly.
initially struggling a bit to kind of time it and stuff like that, but then eventually, as he spent time at the crease, it became easier and easier.
Yeah.
One last point on this also, and for viewers who probably don't watch the game as much or don't know about the game as much, a critical thing in this is you can afford to do this when you're batting first, can't you, Sarvesh? That take your time a bit. But if we were to flip the coin and say if the Rajasthan Royals were chasing 185, you cannot afford to be 25, 26 ball 26 when you're chasing, but batting first gives you that luxury sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's no scoreboard pressure, so you can take your time. And when, especially when you are 3 down for like 50 odd, that's when I think you have that liberty to take your time and carry the innings. And Rajasthan Royals, as we all know, the top seven. There are not a lot of bowlers in that top seven. There is only one bowler available in Riyan Parag, and their bottom five, they don't bat a lot except for Ashwin. We know what Ashwin can do. So Ashwin came to bat at number 5. So that is, we have seen this in the past. They look to do this sometimes just to just to strengthen and
Lengthen their batting.
exactly. So that's what they did today, and they were pretty successful. I mean, That inning, I think Ashwin deserves a lot of credit there, because when your team has scored only 5 boundaries in first 9 overs, and then to score those 3 sixes in a quick succession against the best spinner of the opposition, that again, and against the best fast bowler of the opposition, Andrik Nokia. I mean, nobody expected this. So I think credit to these guys. And again, Dhruv Jurel and Shimron Hetmeyer, those guys gave them the flourish that they needed at the end. So I think that innings started to come together once these guys once these guys started scoring quickly.
It was quite interesting listening to Sanju Samson on the post-match presentation as well, because he said he and Sangakkara were humming and hawing whether they get in Ravman Powell, because they felt they might be one batter short in this innings.
Yeah.
But they said when they went past that 17-over mark and they still had Shimron Hetmeyer to come in, that's when they decided that they didn't need it, and they decided then to go with the bowler in Andre Berger. One last thing about this whole innings of Riyan Parag before we move on to the bowling analysis for DC. I was just so happy to see the kind of response he got when he finished not out and he came back, and all his teammates around him giving him high fives, because they've also kind of held him together in all these years, believing in him and telling him, "Don't worry, it'll happen, it'll come. You are talented, you're doing all the right things." So it's so happy to see that cohesive kind of appreciation for his. And that's what you play cricket for, don't you? You play cricket, I believe, primarily for the appreciation of your teammates. Because when you come back into the dressing room and all your teammates are clapping for you, 100,000 people in the stadium clapping and 11 of your teammates clapping for you is massively different, isn't it?
Yes, and those guys have seen his struggle for last few years. They know what he has done and the kind of innings that he has played, and that all those talks that if he should be playing for RR, if they should be buying him back, and all those things. I mean, those are now they're long gone. So, like you said, he has done his bit, and now he started to come alive. At number 4, we spoke this in our previews as well, that his best position is number 4, which allows him that freedom to come in, spend some time, and then do exactly what he did today. So yeah, that's the Riyan Parag that we want to see now.
Perfect. Let's have a look at DC's bowling and where things went a bit wrong for them today. As you rightly pointed out, Sarvesh, that power play, they were absolutely all over the Royals. Khalil Ahmed bowled brilliantly in the power play, and we all know that he's also had a good domestic season before coming into this IPL. Mukesh Kumar, who came in, was bowling fantastically in that power play as well. And Andrik Nokia, and coming back from injury, and he also had a good, decent start to his spell as well. So those first 6 or 7 overs, they were all over Rajasthan Royals. Where do you think they lost the plot kind of towards the end?
I think they were doing pretty well. Khalil Ahmed bowled 3 overs for 9 runs for 1 wicket. Mukesh Kumar was, I think, 2 overs, 19 runs for 1 wicket. Nokia also bowled 1 over for less than 6 runs. So that's the kind of start these guys gave. Then again, in the middle overs, Akshar Patel bowled beautifully. I mean, 21 runs. If you're considering 21 runs, and if the team consists 185, then you have basically made up for those extra runs leaked by your teammates. So, and conceding only 1 boundary, was pretty critical. So Akshar, he bowled well, and Kuldeep Yadav, I felt he was bowling well, but then that charge from Ashwin, I think that is something we know what Indian batters can do to you. They are good players of spin, and Ashwin, as we all know, he can bat properly. So that's what he did. That over changed a lot. That momentum was entirely shifted in that over, and that this is where I felt that DC started feeling the pressure, because Ashwin not only just scored those quick runs, he scored those against the best fast bowler of the opposition and probably best spinner of the opposition. So that's the kind of impact that small innings of Ashwin had, and that is where the innings started derailing for DC. That is when they started losing the plot.
Now that's well put, because as you can see those bowling figures, you've got 2 bowlers, one going at 5.3, one going at 6, which means between the 2 of them, the 8 overs have gone for 45, which is less than run a ball. Um, just to put things into perspective, if the rest of the bowlers had done that, RR wouldn't have gone past 120. But as it turned out, you had Mukesh Kumar, Nokia, and Kuldeep Yadav going for 12, 12, and 10.3, which kind of boosted that chase. Quick word on Andrik Nokia. He's coming back after injury. I was keeping a close eye on his pace. He didn't quite hit the 150 mark yet. Started off in the late 130s, then he bumped it up to around 145. I think there was 146 somewhere there as well, but not in complete rhythm yet. So he's going to take a couple of games to kind of find his mojo again after such a long break.
Yeah. And this can happen when you spend so much time on the sidelines. I think with these quick bowlers, I think this can happen sometime. And I think this just still early days. And DC would hope that he would get back in rhythm because he is crucial. And he's also one of those players where the franchise has put a lot of faith in him. They have been looking after him for quite a lot of time now. He's with them for like I think around 5-6 years now, more than that I think. So again, he's a very critical player for them. Emotional, there is some emotional attachment as well because if you remember, they let Rabada go and they keep hold of Nokia. So
Yep.
that decision
Yeah.
during that mega auction. So that's a kind of emotional connect that the franchise has with Nokia. So I hope he does well. Just first game, and I think he uh, he must have felt that as well. So I think he should. I think it was his first game, or I think he played before as well. The first game. I think this was his
No,
first
it
game,
was
right?
his first game.
Yeah,
He didn't
exactly.
play the previous one. It was
Yeah,
his
he
first
was
game.
looking rusty, and I think he'll get better from this game onwards.
Cool. So that brings us to the end of the analysis for Delhi's bowling. If we look at Delhi's reply then with the bat, when you're chasing 185 odd, you need a good start, and they got a perfect start with Mitch Marsh and David Warner both going great guns. Things were looking on track, and until that over from Nandre Berger, where
Yeah.
he picked up a couple of wickets and just kind of put the brake on that innings, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Mitchell Marsh was a huge wicket because we know what he can do. What he has done in the past, especially on Indian wickets, and he can take that game away from you in like 2-3 overs. So that was a very critical wicket. And then Ricky Boy, I think even last game he was finding it pretty difficult. This game as well, he looked like I don't know. I mean, he didn't look like that he's comfortable batting at that position because number three in T20 is still a difficult position to bat. I mean, Virat Kohli bats for us there at this point. That tells you that how critical that position is. So that's sometimes you have to face the new ball. Sometimes you have to come and bat on the second ball of the innings. So that's the kind of pressure normally number three batters have, but didn't work out for him. Rishabh Pant was batting at his usual position 4, but I think DC will have to think of something else for at number 3. If it is not working out for Ricky Bui, then I think they will have to manufacture somebody. Maybe they will have to look at Prithvi Shaw. I am hoping that he's carrying some injury because if he's not carrying that injury, then basically that means he's dropped, and that's not a good sign. So I hope that they something happens there and he gets back to this 11. And Mitchell Marsh basically he can bat at number 3. Shaw can maybe they can push him upwards up at number in top 2, and I think then this batting
Yeah.
will look a lot better. And then after there was one particular period where I felt that Rajasthan Royals the bowlers they had one particular plan against Rishabh Pant. They were bowling pretty wide to him. You saw Chahal bowling those close to that white line. He was not allowing him to hit it on the leg side. He was asking him to fetch that, and I think that was the plan for Rishabh. And he even got out doing the same thing. So I think that was their plan, and they were successful. And Rishabh Pant and Abhishek Purel, these two guys, Indian batters, you expect them to bat well against spin. Not, I mean, they are good players, but I think Chahal bowled beautifully. Being a leg spinner, these days, as we all know, those matchups and all those things, the people don't give you a lot of credit, a lot of chances that you can actually get out. You can actually dismiss the left-handers from the opposition team if you are a left-arm spinner or if you are a leg spinner. But Chahal did exactly that. He took two critical wickets from the opposition, and both were lefties. So again, that was a very critical from Rajasthan Royals point of view. And I think once Rishabh Pant got out, I mean, Stubbs. I think how I wanted to ask you this. Stubbs, he could have been dismissed today at I think 14 or 15 from 12 deliveries. So what do you think that must be going his in his mind? Because right now it looks like he had some recovery after that. So what do you think? Should DC continue to back him, or should they send him down and should they look for somebody else to bat at that position?
I think he's got the power game, as we saw. He's got the ability to make up when he takes his time. And if you see the time when he did come in, they just lost a wicket, and
Yeah.
it was a critical time because 3 wickets down when you come in. Again, it was very similar to what happened with the Royals, that they were also 3 wickets down. And this is where I said to you that when you're chasing, when you're batting first, you can afford to take your time and make up. But when you're chasing, that scoreboard pressure just keeps mounting. The issues Tristan Stubbs, I think, had was when he was new, Pant was struggling at the other end.
Yeah.
That the boundaries were not coming. Whereas with Riyan Parag, even though he was struggling initially a bit, Ashwin was the one who was still kept the scoreboard moving.
Right.
And that's where I think before Tristan Stubbs gets the measure of the wicket and the pace of the bowling and all of that, he needed somebody else because Pant was the set batter there. He should have kind of kept that scoreboard, but Pant was struggling himself. Then he got out. Then suddenly the onus was on Tristan Stubbs. Abhishek Porel still quite relatively new, and as you said, even though he's the Indian batter, he didn't really get going today like he did in the last game. Um, we've spoken at length about Ricky Bhui, and I just wanted to bring that. I don't think he's faced a lot of 145 kind of bowlers in domestic cricket who come in, wrap him on the pads the first ball, even before he's got a chance to get his bat down. The second one, absolute snorter from Nandre Berger. Any good top order batsman or international batsman also would have struggled against that delivery. So you got to feel for him a bit.
Exactly.
But you're right in saying that he's going to get more of that, and people will be watching. So DC have to either make a call on that or kind of look at what the best combination is. But yeah, I think I like Stubbs at 5. I think he's got the power, and he fell short today. But I think part of the problem that DC had also was when Akshar Patel plays 13 deliveries
Yeah.
at the end and scores only 15. I think that's where that game momentum has shifted because um, they lost by 12 runs. At the death, a 13 ball 27 is expected from a finisher. So if you get a 13 ball 27 from Akshar Patel, you win the game. While I think Tristan Stubbs has actually done his job with a 44 of 23, coming at number 5 when 3 wickets had fallen. So yeah, you can look at games in many ways, but yeah, there are
I think a lot of
reading scope.
credit for that should go to the way Sandeep Sharma bowled. He was the last bowler introduced. You can see he's the sixth bowler introduced, and he was the first one to complete his full quota of 4 overs. That's the kind of faith this management is showing in him. And the kind of overs that he's bowling, those wide Yorkers, he's absolutely nailing. He's everything. He's doing everything. He's executing everything correctly. So that's the kind of phase Sandeep Sharma is having right now. And then today he also had support of Avesh Khan. Avesh Khan, there was in 20th over they had option of going back to Nandre Berger. Trent Bolt were also there, and two spinners also had their 1 overs left. So, but they preferred Avesh Khan. That tells you, that the kind of impact Avesh Khan is having. 8 dot balls and 1 for 29. I think it's a great return. And Avesh and Sandeep, I think these two guys bowl pretty well, and I think a lot of credit for the should go to them. I mean Akshar could not deliver, but I think these guys were excellent today. I mean probably many other batters could have also felt in a similar manner that they could have also gone in a similar way the way Akshar went today. So I felt a lot of credit should go to these two guys. They were excellent.
Yeah, I think the good point here is that as you mentioned, that Sanju Samson had the option of his overseas quick bowlers to finish the innings off, but he chose to go with his Indian fast bowlers. That shows the level of confidence he has in both Avesh Khan and Sandeep Sharma. And B, it's also the respect for local conditions because these guys play on such kind of pitches day in and day out. and they know what lengths to bowl at the death. So Sanju Samson just playing a smart move there. We know Trent Bolt's second spell nowadays is not as effective as his first, so he didn't go with him. And I was surprised he didn't actually go with Nandre Burger. I was thinking that that last over would be Nandre Burger,
Yeah.
but he decided to go with Avesh Khan. And Avesh Khan, 2 games in a row now, I've been really impressed with his economy,
Yeah.
because one problem that Avesh Khan used to have in the past was he used to leak too many runs. He was close to those nines and tens. But last 2 games now against, I think the first game against Punjab Kings, or was it LSG,
Yeah. LSG.
against his old
Oh,
franchise,
yeah.
LSG. And he bowled well in that game, and second game in a row now he's bowled well and finished well.
Yes.
Uh, um, I guess unless for that finishing kick, we could have had a different result in this game as well. But the brilliant story is that Rajasthan Royals, if they can win games like this, they are in a very good space. Because when you don't get runs from Yashasvi Jaiswal, you don't get runs from Joss Butler, you don't get runs from Sanju Samson, yet you put 185 on the board and you win a game by 12 runs, augurs really well for the Royals. 2 out of 2 now. And these are the kind of games that, if you can find something to win these kind of games, I mean, Jaiswal will always win you 2 or 3 games on his own.
Yeah.
Butler will always win you 2 games on his own. And Samson will always win you 1 or 2 games on his own. But the rest, if you can conjure up and you can win games where you're not in good situations, is what defines teams in a long
Right.
tournament like this, doesn't it,
Yeah,
Sarvesh?
basically you're creating new match winners for you when your star batters are not there performing. And I think that's when these players can come in, and you have been grooming these guys for long. And I think now these batters, Dhruv Jurel, Riyan Parag, all these guys, they are now stepping up and taking that responsibility. And now they have started winning games on their own. Last season we saw what Dhruv Jurel did, and now what Riyan Parag is doing. So I think they are now repaying the faith, and they are allowing their star batters or key batters to know that margin where they can fail a bit for 1 or 2 games. So that's the kind of team that Rajasthan Royals have built, and full credit should be given to them for that.
Well, on that note, a quick look at the table. As we can see, Chennai 2 from 2, Rajasthan 2 from 2. From number 3 down to number 7, we've got everybody on 2 points, but still very, very early days. Kolkata with a game in hand, and they are playing tonight against the Royal Challengers Bengaluru. So one of those 2 teams will have 4 points, and slightly make their way up on that table, depending on the margin of victory. But Delhi's got to pull up their socks and make sure, because when you lose 2 games in a row, you want to make sure you win the third, because 3 games in a row rut, we've spoken about this in our previews, that the teams at the bottom of the ladder are normally the ones who have long losing streaks and just cannot get out of those. So yeah, Delhi need to find something to get out of there. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Snickometer podcast. We love doing this. We love bringing these shows to you. As always, a big thank you to Sarvesh for putting together all the graphics and the numbers. If you haven't followed us, do so please on our Twitter handle as well as our Instagram page, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be back again tomorrow with Bengaluru versus the Kolkata Knight Riders. And unless Sarvesh has anything else to add,
no, I think we have
it's
got a
going
good
to be
game. We have got a good game now. RCB and KKR, I think that will be a very close game.
2 evenly matched sides,
Yeah.
so should be a nail biter. Hopefully, we get a nail biting finish.
Yeah.
Well, that's all from us. Until next time, take care and keep enjoying lots and lots of cricket. Thank you.